Today we're going to be testing another one of your tactics. You, the viewers, are sending in your tactics and we're testing them, and hopefully we're going to find the best tactic that you guys have created for FM24. And today we're going to be taking a look at Stefan's name of the game, 4-4-2. It's quite an interesting tactic. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to FM with Old Man Phil. And if you are a brand new visitor, I'm Phil and welcome to the channel. And today we're going to be carrying on with our series Testing Your Tactics, in which you guys out there send in your tactics to me and we test them and try to discover what is the best tactic of FM24 that you guys have created. And we have had a very good response so far to people wanting their tactics tested. And today is the turn of Stefan. And Stefan is a very valued channel member, has been for some time, and he was very quick to respond to the advertisement and entered his tactic the day after we announced the competition. He has had a lot of success with this, he says, in Spain and in England with Middlesbrough. And so we're going to be testing his tactic today. The name of the game, 4-4-2. As usual, we will input his tactic into 3 saves, Manchester City, Brighton and Luton, and then I will go on holiday and we will run a season with each, and we will score each save against a series of markers that we have designed. That will give us a total score out of 300, divide by 3, and we'll get a total score out of 100. After today, we are going to change the format. We are not going to be using Brighton anymore. We're going to try and find a better club to use. Brighton does seem to have some kind of code within the game that does not make it successful if you go on holiday, and generally over both saves the first time I ran it we got sacked very quickly, even just before November was out. And so because of that I've decided probably the best thing to do is to change the team to something a little bit more conducive to what we are trying to do here. But more of that later on. But if you are brand new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing the game, then I can tell you you're definitely in the right place. So why not subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll be updated when future videos are uploaded to this channel. And why not hit that like button, leave a comment, because likes and comments will help the YouTube algorithm to push the video out to people who've not yet had a chance to view our channel. Okay, so now let's go and have a look at what Stefan has put together in his name of the game, 4-4-2. And if you do want to try out this tactic, I've, as usual, left a link to where you can download it in the description below. And you can download it, tweak it, have fun with it, enjoy. Let's go and kick some balls. So let's begin by looking at the tactic that Andy submitted. And this is called the name of the game, 4-4-2. And in goal there is a sweeper keeper. At the back there is a fullback on support on either side. There is a ball playing defender on defend and a no nonsense centre back next to him on the right. On the right hand side on the wing you have an inverted winger on attack, and inside him in midfield is a DLP on defend and a box to box midfielder, of course, on support. And then outside the box to box is a winger on support. And up front we have an advanced forward on attack and a deep lying forward on support. In terms of additional team instructions, the goalkeeper has no additional instructions. The fullback on the right is told to take fewer risks and get further forward. The no-nonsense centre-back has no additional instructions. The ball-playing defender has dribble more and mark tighter. And then the left back on support has cross aim far post and cut inside with the ball. The inverted winger has cross more often, cross aim far post, roam from position, sit narrower and mark tighter. The winger on the left has just mark tighter. The box-to-box midfielder has shoot less often, move into channels and mark tighter. And the DLP is told to pass more direct, take more risks, close down less and mark tighter. Up front, the deep-lying forward has no additional instructions, and the advanced forward is told to shoot more often and roam from position. The tactic is played with a positive mentality and in possession. It is a fairly narrow attacking system. There is focus played through the middle and play out of defence. It's a short short passing directness with a slightly lower tempo. Play for set pieces is also included. And in transition, there's no counter press, no counter, and just basically take short kicks to the fullbacks and to the centre-backs. And out of possession, it has a standard line of defence, a high press, and trigger press more often with prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and the defensive line is told to step up more. And so that is the tactic that Andy sent us in for us to test. And now let's go and have a look at how he got on at Manchester City. If we go to the competitions page, you can see that once again, the same as Andy, Manchester City finished in second place. Played 38, they finished with a total of 85 points, and they were second to Liverpool, who were top by 3 clear points with 88. In other trophies, Manchester City did not perform very well. They were knocked out in the round of 16 in the Champions League by Lazio. They were runners-up in the UEFA Super Cup. They were knocked out in the 5th round by Stoke in the FA Cup. Carabao Cup knocked out in the 4th round by Newcastle. And runners-up in the FA Community Shield. In fact, it was a pretty poor season, I would say, by Manchester City standards. In terms of the league stats, then you can see that the most goals, they did score the most goals. They scored 92 goals in their 38 matches. Liverpool came second with 90 in their 38, and that was followed by Arsenal, who only managed 80. Goals conceded, Liverpool were top. They conceded only 31. Manchester City did concede 38 goals, which is quite a lot for Manchester City, and so possibly defensively this tactic has a little bit of work to do on it. Most possession, you can see, was by Liverpool with 61% possession. Manchester City were in third with 59% possession. And the top goal scorer for Manchester City was obviously Erling Haaland. He only scored 28 goals in 29 appearances. And that is something that I do notice when you are playing yourself for Manchester City. He gets injured for at least 8 games. But when you are not managing Manchester City, he doesn't seem to get injured very often. And I think the game needs to look at that in terms of coding and top players getting injured. And so 28 goals for Erling Haaland was not a good return for this season. And so overall it was not a great season for Manchester City, and it did give us a total of 83 out of 100. And so moving on to Brighton, and as you can see, Brighton finished 11th in the Premier League, getting 45 points from their 38 games. I would say to finish mid-table was fairly successful. But there is an addendum to add to this, because I did have to run this for a second time, as I did with Andy, because both times as the Brighton manager going on holiday, we got sacked in the first attempt. And so, as I said earlier, we are going to change Brighton as a team, because it does seem that this is a difficult challenge, and you have to be playing this yourself as the manager in order to accomplish things at Brighton. And going on holiday with this club is not going to work. It is actually more difficult now to go on holiday without being sacked, because of the squad dynamics being much more important in the game than it was previously. But we are going to try this with a different club from here on in. But the second time we ran it, it was fairly successful for Brighton, and they did manage, as I said, the 45 points and finished in 11th. And if we take a look at the team stats, then in terms of goals conceded, Brighton came in 6th. They scored 61 goals in the 38 games. It's not a great scoring tactic, this. Goals conceded, they don't feature in the main screen, and we have to go all the way down to 17th. They conceded 71 goals. And like Manchester City, there are perhaps defensive flaws in this tactic. And then in terms of possession, they were 8th in the league. They got 55% possession overall. And the top scorer for Brighton was Ansu Fati, who came in 4th. He got 21 goals. It was not a bad effort from a striker who plays for a team that finished in 11th. And so 21 goals, I'd be quite pleased with that. Overall, Brighton did finish in 11th. They were knocked out of the Europa League in the playoff round by Napoli. They were knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup by Manchester City, and knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the 4th round by also Manchester City. Overall, given they had to play in Europe, I suspect that Brighton will be very pleased and met the expectations of the board to finish in mid-table. Not a bad season, but unfortunately only managed to score 56 out of 100. And so finally, let's move on to Luton, and let's have a look at how this tactic got on with Luton. And as you can see, Luton survived, and that was the expectation, was to avoid relegation, and they finished in 16th. Well done to Luton and to this tactic, and they managed to get 32 points from 38 of games and just about survived. It was a low scoring Premier League in terms of points this season, but they still survived, and that's got to be worth something. They were knocked out in the fourth round of the Emirates FA Cup by Stoke, and in the Carabao Cup they were also knocked out by Stoke in the third round. And so a pretty decent season, I would say, for the first season in the Premier League for Luton. And if we have a look at the statistics and the team overview statistics, the most goals that were scored, well, of course they're not going to figure in that, and we have to go all the way down to 15th to see they scored only 42 goals in their 38 games. It's not the greatest attacking tactic, this, and it's showed throughout the 3 saves. In terms of fewest conceded, again, they're not actually figuring, and we have to go all the way down to 20th. They did concede a lot of goals, conceding 84 goals throughout the season. Not a bad effort from a team as small as Luton. And the top goal scorer for Luton was Elijah Adebayo, who only managed 12 goals in his 26 appearances. It was a pretty tough season for Luton, but they managed to survive, and that's all that counts at the end of the day. And that performance by Luton gave Stefan a total of 46 points. It is a very interesting tactic that he has going here, and it does seem to have worked in his own saves. And so, overall, Stefan has achieved a score of 62 out of 100, and that puts him in second place behind Andy on 74. Overall, I like this tactic. I think it's got a lot of potential, and the only little tweak that I might make would be to have the line starting higher and then tweak that within game as I go through the season. I like the tactic. I do like a nice 4-4-2. Download it, tweak it, give it a try. See how successful you can be with his name of the game, 4-4-2. And that's it for another episode in Testing Your Tactics. If you would like your tactic to feature in this series, then drop me an email, and you can find the email address on the channel page. And just tell me very briefly why you think your tactic should be in the competition. And don't forget, if you are brand new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing this game, hit that subscribe button, click the bell, and you'll be updated when we upload future videos in this series. And all that remains to be said now is thanks to Stefan for submitting his tactic. Bad luck it didn't get to number 1, but I do like the look of the tactic, and one day I'd like to give it a try. And all that remains to be said now is stay safe, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.